pain clearance test also for the push-up that might change the score of the push-up. So say they nailed it, they were great. Now we take them into the extension clearance test. Hands to the side, and all we're looking at is this is a cobra, prone cobra. So straighten your arms out. Does that hurt? Yes or no? No? We're good. Yes, 0 on the torso stability push-up. So just, it's simple, don't overcomplicate it. Straighten the arms out. Did it hurt? And we're looking for pain anywhere. So that's trunk stability push-up. And then last but not least, rotary stability. Let's go like a 45-degree angle. So we can pull the uprights out of the kit. And we're going to set them up by getting them in a quadruped position. Good quadruped position is wrists underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hip, nice flat back and good neck and all that good stuff there. So we got them in good position, and we're going to test for the 3 first. So 2 different movements for the 3 or the 2 on this. I will forewarn you, you will see very few 3s on the rotary stability. The 3, you're going to have, we'll start with the right arm and the right leg at the same time, going out, and then you're going to touch the elbow to the knee and reset. Extremely difficult. The knee and elbow should track over the board like that, and the elbow should touch the knee. Let's go left side. There's going to be a little bit of a weight shift on this. That was pretty good right there. So there's going to be a little bit of a weight shift on this. Let's go back down in the position. If they weight shift and everything stays square, that's okay. As long as this and this are tracking over that board, that's a 3. But let's check out this. Let's go ahead and do the right side again. So if when he's doing this right side, he completely lays this foot over to get stability, not cool. So this foot has to stay lined up. And that's one thing you're going to want to really look at, because that's what people do to cheat on this. FYI, like I said, 99 out of 100 not going to nail a 3 on this. But when you're getting into some elite level athletes, this is going to be some important information and something that you'll want to work on. So we'll test for a 2. So let's go back into quadruped position. And we're just going to do opposites there. So we're going to have him do right arm, left leg. We want to get it completely straight without a bunch of lordosis. And then he's going to bring his elbow to his kneecap and touch them together above the board. So it has to touch above the board, and it has to touch. And when I say touch the knee, we're talking about knee, not necessarily patella, but we're not talking about mid-thigh. So just knee. And let's get that deep anatomy nailed, knee. So touch the knee to the elbow. And if he can do that with no tilting side to side, let's go scoring criteria on this. What's it take to get not a 1 or a 2? Correct diagonal repetition. So that just means he extended his arm and his leg out correctly and brought it back and touched it together. What else we got? Yay! So that's it. If he falls over and stuff, loses major balance, once again, that's a 1.
What if the person can get down on all 4 but can't get back up quite easily?
If they can get down in this position, perform a rep, and then they're good. If they can perform this rep, they're good. If they can't get up from the ground, we probably would have caught that in another screen, like the lunge or something like that. And I would train them like supine for a long time. And that, one more test, one more pain clearance test. So we'll go into the flexion test. So child's pose. Just want to bring the butt down the heels as close as you can. Reach the arms forward. Drop the head. Do you have any pain? No. Yes or no? If he did have pain, he would have a 0 on the rotary stability. If not, we're good to go. And That's the basis of the functional movement screen. That's how to perform the movements. That's how to score the movements. Now what we're going to do is take a little break, and then we'll come back and have you guys in your groups, and then you're just going to, one person's going to be the victim, you're all going to screen that person, and then the next person, you're all going to screen that person, and then we're going to get back together again, and we're all going to score someone together, and then we're going to go over a couple case studies to make sure that you can take that information and fill out the sheet and apply that to a workout.
All right, so I'm going to go through this. If you guys want to put me on the clock, feel free. I'm going to go through this in less than 10 minutes. All right, so Steve, I like it the other side of the board. Let's come on this side of the board. I'm just picky like that. I want you on this side. So his heels are going to go up to the board. Feet shoulder width apart. I want the inseam of your foot shoulder width. Put the bar on your head. 90 degrees in the elbows. That looks pretty good. Straighten your right toe out just a smidge. Arms up. Now let's go ahead, see a deep squat, squat as deep as you can. And come up.
First one of the day.
I want to see another one. And come up. And then just give me one more. Okay, come up. How do you guys score that? 3. Yep. The only reason why I was on the line of the 2 was I came to this side to see where that bar was, and he kept it behind the toes. It was right behind that metatarsal, so we're good. So I'm going to go with the 3.
And my big issue, just to chime in, is my feet want to spin out sometimes, so that's what I'm always looking for.
Like his first one, he had like a little valgus, like his knee wobbled, caved in, so we lost one of those points that we were looking at. That's why I wanted to see more. Then he fixed it on his second rep, so I saw what I was looking for. Then I just came and got the view, different view. Okay, so now we're going to go into hurdle step. So I'm going to measure his tibia. I'm going to give you 19. Okay, so the hurdle step, what I want you to do, Steve, is you're going to line up behind the board. I want your feet even, bars just resting on your back, toes together at the base of the board. From here, looking forward, I want you to step up and over. Maintain good height, keep that bar parallel to the floor. Touch the heel, now come back to the starting position. Let's see that again. Let's go one more on your left. Let's check your right. Go again. And one more. Good. 2-2. Anybody else see anything different? Score differently? Good. Okay. Inline lunge. So now we're going to use that same tibia height. I want your toe at the 0. I want your heel to come up to the 19. Whatever leg is back, that arm is going to go up. So you got the right leg back. I want the right arm up, the left arm at the small of the back. So let's go ahead. Good. Toes are straight down the board. That looks pretty good. If you can, pull your right toe into the middle just a little bit, like towards me.
My right?
Right. Or left. There. Good. Okay. Now we've got hand at the cervical, lumbar, the little gaps there. Good. Now from this position, It's pretty straight up and down. Let's go ahead and see your lunge. Good. Go again. And go again. Okay. What do you guys see? You got better. Yep. First two I would have given a 2. That last one looked pretty solid, so I'm going to go with a 3. Okay. And now I know I pointed this out to my group. I like this view. That way I don't have a glute blocking my view to see if it's touching his sacrum. So I'm just changing my view to make sure I can stay in touch with all 3 points of contact. Good. He just nailed a 3 right there. No need to see anything more. Okay, now shoulder mobility. See your dominant hand. Seven and a half. So let's go ahead. Fist inside, feet together, arms are going to go out. One goes over top, one goes underneath. And I'm just going to measure. Okay, switch. That one is a 9.5. Let's see that one again. His first one was like a 6, I think. I didn't even measure it. I know it was within, clearly within. That one's 8.5. Let's see one more on this side. Eight and a half. So, right, how am I going to score that? His right arm over, you guys, yep, and then asymmetrical, so 3-2. Okay, let's go down into our active straight leg raise. So now Steve is going to lay on the ground. We're going to put the knees over top of the board. We're looking to make sure we can keep those feet running parallel. Toes are going to be straight up. Knees going to be in the back of the board. We're not going to get any knee flexion with this either. Let's get those feet together if you can. Good. Now from this position, good starting position. I like to get my midline first. So ASIS, patella, meet halfway. Mark it. Let's go ahead and whatever leg you want to go first. Okay, let's see one more. Back down. Now I'm going to instruct them a little bit slower on that last one. I don't want speed to mask any dysfunction here. And let's go again. Nice and controlled. Here, I'm going to drop from down. That falls within my second zone. Let's go ahead, feet together. Down. Okay. Let's go again. Okay. Fell within that second zone on both sides, so I'm going to go symmetrical 2s there. Now you can just kick that board out of the way, Steve. Let's go into your push-up. So Steve, go ahead, lay down on the ground, all the way down. The hands are going to be in pretty narrow, and I want them all the way up by your forehead. Good. Okay. Body's nice and long, elbows are up. In that position, go ahead, give me a push-up. Down. Reset, give me another one. Good. Okay. First one, I wouldn't have given him a 3. That one was pretty solid there. Now, let's go into a pain clearance test. So from here, I want you to just go into the prone cobra. Keep the hips on the ground. What I want you to do is just extend straight up, and let's see if there's any pain with that. So raise your chest up as high as you can. Does that hurt? I bypassed my shoulder impingement test, so let's get that real quick. Put the hand on the opposite shoulder, feet together. Good. I want the elbow to come to the center line. Good. Even a little bit more. There. Now raise straight up. Keep going a little bit more. Does that hurt? Let's try the other side. Good. Does that hurt? Okay. Now let's check our last but not least, our rotary stability. So let's go in quadruped position on all four. I want the ankles flexed. These toes are going to be pulled in towards the shins, knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, thumbs touch, knees touch, toes touch. From here, let's try same arm, same leg. They go straight out. I want to see if it can maintain a straight line down that board. If you want, you could try it again. No, let's just try the right side. See if there's any difference. No, let's just go ahead, go into opposite arm, opposite leg. Make sure that we're reset. Knees, toes, thumbs touch. Good. And back out. Okay, let's go into your pain test. Let's rock back. So this is going to be our child's pose, chest down into the knees. Is there any pain with that? Nope. Cool. Symmetrical twos, negative. Okay, so that's our screen for Steve today. No ones. He's got an asymmetry on shoulder mobility. And outside of that, we're looking symmetrical twos. So this is going to be what we're going to do is we're going to use his screen here and figure out how one, if we're going to red light anything. Two, if we are going to red light anything, how we're going to fix it. So he's putting boxes around some. I know I talked to you guys about pods. So we have mobility pod, stability pod, functional movement pod. So one, this is what we attack first. So we're looking at shoulder mobility, active straight leg raise. This is our mobility pod. So I'm looking through my scores. I've got a 3-2, so I've got an asymmetry. Go ahead, circle that too, just so we can see that there's an asymmetry there on the shoulder. So we got an asymmetry there, and we're at symmetrical twos. So we're looking at the shoulder mobility right there. Whenever we do this, what we're looking at is we want to see symmetry in twos or threes in this box before we move on. And then the next box that our corrective strategy is going to fix is going to be our stability pod. So our stability pod is torso stability push-up, and then our rotary stability. So if we, once again, we're looking at symmetrical twos and threes there. And then from there, we would just move up into this general movement, functional movement phase. Look to see symmetry between that.
So let's do a couple examples on this first, on where we would start before we get into writing an actual program for someone. So right now, as it stands, what's my weakest link that we're going to do corrective exercises for in the warm-up? We're going to drive home throughout the entire workout. The one thing that we need to clear right away, what is it? Shoulder mobility. Shoulder mobility. Okay. So let's do this. Yeah, right, but where do we go first? What's my weakest link?
Trunk stability push-up.
Okay. So we're going to throw in some trunk stability push-up correctives. I'm going to go from a 1 to a 2 over our first 3 training sessions. Now where do we go? So, when you get into this pod, I typically will go in that order. So, always know you'll correct the squat last. So, these two here are kind of interchangeable, whatever. And when it comes to the FMS rule scoring criteria, you just want to fix what's in this box, last. But if this was the case, I'm going to attack hurdle step before I attack squat. And try to get that symmetrical and then work on that squat. And that's the new scoring criteria. With the old scoring criteria, you just attacked ones first, and we would have went with the deep squat, and we might have worked on that for a while, never getting any progress because of this asymmetry here. So that could be the underlying issue that's causing the deep squat to be a 1, potentially. So say, sweet.
Good.
Cool.
Okay, now we kind of talked about the pods. There's still kind of this is more important, like what we attack first within these pods. So these pods here, our first pod, our mobility pod. Let's just change that to a 1. Now we have a 2-1 and a 2-1. Which one do you think we'd attack first? Straight leg raise. So we're going to attack our straight leg raise before shoulder mobility, even though we have the exact same score. So we want to see if we can clear this up, if that's going to make any change into our shoulder. So even though we have that same score, we're going to attack that. So this is going to be number 1. This is going to be number 2. We want to make sure we get those symmetrical and 2s before moving on into the next pod.
Yep. So once these are both 2s, symmetrical, now we can go in here, clear that push-up.
Now, do you guys know which one comes first, the rotary stability or the torso stability? It's a 50-50 shot.
Rotary stability.
Rotary. Rotary is going to come first. That's going to be our soft core. And then the torso stability is going to come second, which is our hard core. So our soft core, we want to make sure those little muscles within the core are firing to help stabilize the spine, rather than the hard core, the abdominals, the obliques. That comes after our soft core. We want to make sure we have good soft core functioning, make sure that we got that rotary stability down, and then we would move into our torso stability. And then like Steve said, once we got these 2 pods, symmetrical 2s or better, then we can move into this pod, and like he said, we go through this inline lunge, hurdle step, deep squat. Inline lunge, basically we have 2 points of contact. This is a single leg, and then our deep squat is our most general movement. There's a lot going on in our deep squat. So we start fixing this stuff, a lot of the times that deep squat just automatically gets better. The main reason why we go here, 2 points of contact versus a single leg contact right there.
So touch on programming a little. Say this is our case study, and we want to write them a strength conditioning program. They want to lose 20 pounds and gain some strength. Sound pretty much like a realistic situation. Okay. So we're going to take our normal training template, and we're going to just plug in what we should do with this person based upon your normal template. And I'm assuming you guys do like a push-pull, hip, quad, core or something like that. Is that realistic? And you have your general warm-up. You might have a specific warm-up. Not sure exactly how you lay it out. But let's say we have specific warm-up, general warm-up, strength, just to keep it really easy, right? And then the strength is push-pull, hip, quad, core. So we'll all agree on that's our template. So with this person, we're going to assign correctives in that specific warm-up section, right? And then we're going to assign correctives for the weakest link. So once again, what are the correctives going to be for on this person? Active straight leg raise. So some leg lowering progressions would be good there for their warm-up, and then we build them into the general warm-up. When we get to the strength conditioning portion of it, we also want to throw in a lot of correctives for active straight leg raise also. And we want to red light any exercises that are going to be a compensation in the exercise, because there's a compensation in the active straight leg raise. We know with the active straight leg raise you can't get good solid hip extension We don't want to have things like RDLs and deadlifts, kettlebell swings, the hip dominant stuff. That's your hip dominant pattern. So we're going to red light any of that stuff in their strength and conditioning portion of their workout. So if it's hip, quad, push, pull, core, the hip is going to be an active straight leg raise correction. The quad, if it's going to be a squat, we're red lighting that too, and we can give them a corrective for that. If it's going to be an inline lunge, if it's going to be a lunge, a split squat, anything like that, they're clear. So we're going to smoke it because they have a 20-pound weight loss goal. So basically, anytime on that template that you see the exercise movement that correlates to the screen, you're going to red light that movement and plug in a corrective exercise, right? And you're going to slam home the weakest link correctives throughout the workout as much as you possibly can. So say it's a tricep workout, and you're going to do quad, and you're going to do upper body pull, and then you're going to throw in an active straight leg raise corrective. So it would be, a good one might be split squat, suspended row, leg lowering. Do that 3 times, move on to the next tricep, and then it might be active straight leg raise corrective again, and then our push is a 1. So once again, we're going to do like a band-assisted push-up or something that's going to pre-engage the core to get them using their core in that hard core pattern because we know their rotary stability is clear. And then once again, an active straight leg raise corrective. So hopefully, by a couple of workouts, that active straight leg raise is now 2 2s, and we can start working on those shoulders as the weakest link. And then all those active straight leg raise things, correctives in that program, get replaced with shoulder mobility correctives. And the active straight leg raise corrections on the strength and conditioning portion of that, where they were red lighting it instead of a deadlift, can now be replaced with a deadlifting pattern, like a PVC stick deadlift or a band deadlift, to get into a good hip hinge pattern, and then you can start doing barbell deadlifts, kettlebell swings, whatever. But you don't do that stuff until you clear the active straight leg raise. Does that all make sense?
So in like a template, would you put like say a small box in the corrective below, have this exercise, and have do this for 2 weeks, we'll retest, and if you're ready to go, we'll jump down to box B, you can actually start with.
Yeah, so I would change the program whenever their screen changed, right? Yeah, it could change in 5 minutes, or it could change in 5 weeks.
It can change within the workout.